Alright, the moment of truth has arrived. There is the lathe table, ready to receive the lathe. Yes, you'll notice the pink granite with a bit of Venetian soft matting, which I've also put on top of where the lathe will go. There's the two bolts sticking out. They're just being held there by friction, really. There they are. And here is the lathe, still a bit shy under the veil, but there are the bolts that are holding it in, which I think are probably only M6, maybe M8. Anyway, up to an M10 will fit there. I've got M8 because the hole is an M8, so that's what I'm using. But we'll see if I manage to do this. Now, this thing is the MX210V, and it weighs about 72 kilos. So I'm gonna have to find a safe way to transport it from there and put it up here. And I'll think about how to do that in a minute. So I moved it in this extremely very safe way. As I keep telling you people, never ever do any of the things that I do for health and safety. Yes, I did lift this 72 kilo thing with my arm and brought it across using my belt, but you know, I'm over 6'2", I'm a big guy, and I know what I can move. Don't do that. If this thing falls on you, there's some feet missing, toes missing. Also, you have to be really careful that the belt doesn't like hit the ways and is actually, you know, whatever you're strapping it with is only going directly on the casting that creates the solid part of the lathe. I have managed to put it on the bolt here. I'm just going to clean out that messy looking thing there, and then I'll gently do the other bolt, which as you can see is quite a ways off from where it's supposed to be. But I'm gonna go get some Allen keys now, take off this little thing because I thought about it before doing it and then I forgot. As I lifted it, I sort of pushed this in a little bit, so I need to readjust it so that the cover doesn't touch the spindle and the chuck rather. So okay, it's almost there. I'll get back to you once I've bolted it down. And here we have the first problem with the lathe. As you can see, the slight deburring needed, even on the main bolt, means that you know, I've got a little ramp there of about 2-3 mils that won't let the washer even sit down on the bed there. So I don't know if I'm gonna take it out or just forego the washer, or maybe, I don't know, cut into the washer a little bit so that I can fit that. But I'll see if it comes off first with a couple of very carefully placed whacks. Get back to you in a sec. So I got a slightly smaller washer there, and it is now, I forgot to take this key out, but there you go. So that smaller washer's almost flat, not quite, but close enough. So that's bolted down, and on the other side, similar story. And you can see that the washer there is bent, but that's as squeezed down as it'll go. The machine is pretty solid. I've taken the cover off just to access the bolt better, but when I did, I'm glad I did, because this little wire, although it shouldn't get anywhere near the gears, was a bit too close for my liking. But anyway, the gears are metal on the MX210V. Some of these bolts, I don't know if you can see that that's flattened out. So I'm gonna have to take a look at this. This is kind of jiggly, so probably needs all a bit of work. And I've already spotted one problem, which on the ways right there you can see that looks almost like a welding spot or something. So I'm gonna look at these carefully and clean them properly. Now, to be fair, the location of that is such that it probably won't matter too much, because if you look at the carriage here, if I take this all the way through, that's a pretty close location to, you know, between the chuck and the post. So I don't know, it might be a problem. I don't know enough about lathes really at the moment, but that's my very first, very quick inspection. There's something, looks like a screw or something missing there. Maybe it's a handle that needs to go in, because the handles are not all in, they're still in the little box. The main screw looks good, the chuck looks pretty good, and I haven't switched it on yet, nor am I going to until I've given this thing a solid once over. One thing I've already done is taken off that guard that I bent a little bit, and I'm glad I did, because here it is. It's just held on by these two little screws, which, as you can see, have got no marker on the bar. So although the bar turns only to one position and then the other position, these little things is all that's holding it in place against the bar by friction, and if it slips or whatever, it could hit the chuck while it's going. So I'm either going to take this guard off, or I'm going to, you know, index a couple of little holes in there so that the screws, I've got a very specific spot to hold on to. That's it for now. The lathe is on the table. I'm sure you'll agree that the pink granite and the little Venetian mat adds it a certain je ne sais quoi. The mat is, of course, as you tighten the bolts, it raised up a little bit, so I might cut it and just leave a piece off there. I don't know, I'll see how it goes. Also, it looks very nice, but I'm hoping that some hot metal chip doesn't set it on fire, which will then make the grease catch fire, which will then make my little workshop / chalet catch fire, which would be a bummer. So we'll see how that goes, and if need be, I'll take it out. But it's on the table, ladies and gentlemen, and I had to redo the feet of the table because I shunted the table across by brute force, and of course the little weld that I had there popped. So I put it back on there, cleaned them out, redid the welds on all four, and it's a, you know, I'm sure anybody that knows anything about welding will say that is absolutely disgusting, but on the sides that were popped off, you know, it's a bit better than it was. So I'm still gonna make sure it's all level and everything before I switch it on, but that'll be a while. I'll let you know when I pull the switch, so to speak.